As the months passed, the darkness that had settled over the village grew thicker, more suffocating. The once thriving land was now a shadow of its former self. Villagers spoke in hushed tones, fearing the curse that had gripped their home. Amina, now heavily pregnant, could feel the weight of the evil she had unwittingly invited into their lives. Kwame, though overjoyed at the prospect of becoming a father, could not ignore the suffering that surrounded them. The crops, once lush and bountiful, lay withered in the fields. Livestock had either fled or fallen ill, and the village elders could find no explanation for the sudden misfortune. It was as if the very earth had turned against them. Amina, haunted by nightmares of the curse, could no longer bear the guilt. She knew that the remedy had come at a terrible cost, a cost that now weighed heavily on her conscience. Determined to set things right, she sought out Baba Ogunde, hoping against hope that there was a way to undo what had been done. With great difficulty, Amina made her way through the dark forest to Baba Ogunde's hut, the same place where her fate had been sealed. The ancient sorcerer greeted her with the same knowing smile, but this time, there was a hint of sadness in his eyes. "I see you have come to understand the true nature of the remedy," Baba Ogunde said, his voice low and somber. "The balance of life and death must always be maintained, Amina. For every life given, another must be taken. The child you carry is a blessing, yes, but it is also the cause of the village's suffering." Amina's heart sank as the full weight of the curse became clear. The life of her unborn child had been bought with the suffering of the entire village. She knew then what she had to do, though the thought of it filled her with unimaginable sorrow. "There must be another way," Amina pleaded, tears streaming down her face. "Is there nothing I can do to save my child and the village?" Baba Ogunde's expression softened as he looked at Amina with pity. "There is a way," he said, "but it will require the greatest sacrifice. The curse can be broken, but it demands a life in exchange, a life willingly given." Amina understood. The only way to save her child and the village was to offer herself as a sacrifice. With a heavy heart, she accepted her fate. She would give her life to undo the darkness that had been unleashed, to bring peace back to the village, and to ensure that her child would be born into a world free from the curse. Before she left the hut, Baba Ogunde gave her one final piece of advice. "Go to the sacred shrine at the heart of the forest. There, you will find the spirits of the ancestors. Offer yourself to them, and they will lift the curse." Amina returned to the village, her resolve unshakable. She did not tell Kwame of her plan, knowing that he would never allow her to go through with it. Instead, she waited until the night was darkest, when the village was silent, and then she made her way to the sacred shrine. The shrine, an ancient structure hidden deep within the forest, glowed with an otherworldly light as Amina approached. The air was thick with the presence of the ancestors, their spirits watching over her as she knelt before the altar. With a trembling voice, Amina spoke her final words. "I offer myself to you, ancestors, to break the curse that I have brought upon this village. Take my life in exchange for the peace and prosperity of my people. Let my child live, free from the darkness that I unleashed." As she finished her plea, a brilliant light engulfed her, lifting her from the ground. Amina felt a deep, overwhelming sense of peace as her spirit was lifted from her body, ascending to join the ancestors. The curse was broken, and the village was free. At that moment, Kwame, who had awakened to find Amina missing, rushed through the forest, his heart filled with dread. He arrived at the shrine just in time to see the final moments of Amina's ascension. He fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face, as he realized the sacrifice she had made. The village, once cursed, began to heal. The crops grew back, the animals returned, and the villagers felt a renewed sense of hope. But for Kwame, the loss of Amina was a wound that would never fully heal. He mourned her deeply, but he also understood the love and strength it had taken for her to make such a sacrifice. In time, Kwame found peace in knowing that Amina's sacrifice had saved their child and the entire village. He vowed to honor her memory by raising their child to be as strong, selfless, and loving as Amina had been. The village, too, would never forget the woman who had given everything to restore their home. And so, the story of Amina became a legend, a tale passed down through generations, reminding all who heard it of the dangers of meddling with dark forces and the power of love and sacrifice.